Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we spill the tea on corporate secrets. And today we're diving into a company that is making some moves not on the battlefield, but in the voting booth. So Banzai International Incorporated is back in the news because they just held their annual shareholder meeting for 2025. It sounds pretty standard, right? Like just another Tuesday for a business, but sometimes these meetings reveal more than you might think under the surface. It is like a shareholder popularity contest, and we're going to see who won what and why it matters. This report is all about what happened back on the 15th of January 2026 when Banzai International had its 2025 annual shareholder get-together. Now, usually these things are packed with proposals and votes, and today we're going to break down the biggest decisions made by the folks who own a piece of Banzai. Before we get into the votes, let's quickly touch on what kind of company Banzai is. They've got Class A common stock, and get this, each share has a par value of just $0.0001. That is practically nothing, and it often signals a company that might be trying to be really flexible with its stock structure. They also have these things called redeemable warrants, and these can be a little spicy. Basically, they give the holder the right to buy Banzai's stock at a set price of $11.50. Now, if the stock price goes way up, these warrants can be super valuable, but if it stays low, they might just expire worthless. It is a bet on the company's future growth. Now, here is an interesting label. Banzai is checking the box as an emerging growth company. What does that mean? Think of it as a startup that is growing up. They get a bit of a break on some of the regulatory rules for a while to help them focus on growth instead of drowning in paperwork. They've also opted out of any extended transition periods for new accounting rules, which means they're ready to play by the newest rules right away. Alright, on to the main event, the shareholder vote itself. On the 15th of January, Banzai shareholders got together, and guess what they talked about? The company needed a quorum to even get started, which means enough shareholders had to be present, either in person or by proxy, to make decisions, and they had it. Over 5,800,000 shares were represented, that is over 50% of the voting power, so they were good to go. The big question today is, what did those shareholders actually vote on? The first proposal was pretty straightforward, re-electing a director to the board. Boards of directors are like the captains of the ship. They oversee the company's strategy and make big decisions. Shareholders get to have a say in who is steering the boat. And the director up for re-election was Mason Ward. The numbers here are pretty clear. A huge number of votes were cast for him, over 3 million of them. Only about 60,000 voted against, and a tiny fraction abstained or withheld their vote. Looks like Mason Ward is staying on the board. This usually means the shareholders are happy with his performance and his contributions to the company so far. He got a pretty strong endorsement. The second major vote was about the company's accountants. Shareholders had to approve reappointing Bush and Associates CPA LLC as the company's independent auditors. This might sound a little dry, but it is actually super important. Independent auditors are like the financial detectives. They check the company's books to make sure everything is accurate and fair. It is a big trust thing. If shareholders don't trust the auditors, then they might not trust the company's financial reports. And the results here are even more impressive than the director vote. A massive 5.5 million votes were for reappointing Bush and Associates. Only about 260,000 voted against it, and a small group abstained. This shows that the shareholders have a lot of confidence in the auditors, and by extension in the financial reporting of Banzai International. They're saying, we trust you guys to keep the books clean. So to sum it up, the shareholders showed a lot of faith in both their leadership and their financial oversight. Mason Ward is back on the board, and Bush and Associates will continue to be their independent auditors. It points to a stable management and a desire for transparency from the shareholders. This report was signed off on the 15th of January 2026, and looking at the signature we see Joseph Davey, the Chief Executive Officer, giving it the official nod. Him signing off means the company is officially reporting these events to the public, which is exactly what they are supposed to do. Overall, Banzai International seems to be running a pretty smooth operation from a shareholder engagement perspective. Both key votes passed with flying colours, indicating a general approval of the company's direction and its financial guardians. The re-election of a director with such overwhelming support suggests that the shareholders are not looking for a shake-up right now. They probably see a steady hand at the wheel. The strong vote for the auditors Bush and Associate CPA LLC also signals confidence in the company's financial transparency. This is good news for investors because it means the numbers you see in their reports are likely to be reliable. However, while these shareholder votes are positive, there is always more to consider than just what is in the meeting minutes. For instance, Banzai is an emerging growth company. This means they might be in a high growth phase, but that also comes with inherent risks. Are they investing heavily for the future, which could mean lower profits now, but higher ones later, or are they struggling to gain market share? The report doesn't go into the day-to-day financials, so we don't get a deep dive into revenue growth or profitability here. We mostly see a confirmation of trust in their governance. The redeemable warrants we mentioned earlier are another point to keep an eye on. If Banzai's stock price remains below $11.50 for a sustained period, these warrants could become worthless. This might signal a lack of confidence from those who receive them in the company's ability to significantly grow its stock value. We'd need to see more financial data to understand the stock's performance, and what those warrants really mean for the company's future capitalization. In conclusion, Banzai International appears to be on a stable footing with its shareholders, showing strong support for its current leadership and financial reporting. There are no immediate red flags waving in this particular report. The biggest takeaway is the confirmation of trust, which is a valuable asset for any company. But as always, investors should dig deeper into their actual financial statements and market position to get the full picture. Alright, that is our breakdown of Banzai International's latest shareholder meeting report. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.